Albuquerque police break up an illegal rave they say could have led to a major tragedy.
City officials in Albuquerque say they've busted about a dozen illegal raves over the past year.
2 men involved with what the city is calling a rave this past weekend.
We're about to show you what happens inside a rave.
Albuquerque police played the role of party poopers last night, busting up a rave inside a warehouse city officials call unsafe.
A rave in downtown Albuquerque with almost 1,000 people, most of them teens, is broken up by police and other agencies.
This weekend, the building was used to help teens party.
On Friday night, a rave with about 700 people.
Raves continue to be a big problem.
What would you call a rave? The traditional rave was an illegal event, often broken into worn down, run down venues.
I think rave is kind of a bad term. Although if somebody just walking in were to take a listen to the music, they could potentially classify it as rave music. But I assume that they're semi-uneducated in that estimation, so it's really about electronic music.
Rave's an antiquated word. Press now uses it just to try to define what they think dance music is about.
People say rave, and right away they think of obviously the electronic music and the glow sticks and a large number of people. To me, you can call it anything that you want to call it.
It's hard to define, I guess, like, you know, what a rave really is, right? Because a rave is just like a DJ-driven party.
They're electronic events. They're, unless they don't have permits, unless they don't have, you know, and there's 1,000 people in a dirty, dirty warehouse and nobody knows where it is and then they find it, it ain't a rave.
And the word rave has become completely pop culture. The culture, the actual rooted culture, what raves started at, the underground, quote unquote, is still alive and well. It's just a lot harder to find, and it's a lot harder to keep it underground because of the label of the rave.
But what seems to get shut down is everything that's 16 to 18 years old, and I think that they're just trying to set a barrier, you know, to protect the kids.
The image of, I guess, go-go dancer, sexuality kind of stuff is really disturbing when you start putting people who are underage, under 18, I would say, into that mix.
Even the above 18 events now, it seems like they're kind of being scrutinized.
Parents don't like to see their children shaking their ass in their underwear, and I don't blame them.
Because no one is willing to take these kids under their wing, and that's why it's falling onto the promoter.
You're responsible for the people that you have in that establishment.
The city is responsible. They should be able to go in and shut it down before it even happens, not after the event, with a certain news crew there, who then a certain news reporter will report it. Yeah.
Look, we want you to do business in our city, but we want you to do it in a way that's safe, and so that you can ensure that when you're holding an event, that the people who are coming in there, don't leave it up to the city. Don't make us come in.
And if you're just issuing a permit willy-nilly anyways, that's completely derelict on the city's portion, you know? I mean, really, think about it. Oh, yeah, you can have a permit at this venue. Sure, no problem. They're not checking it out beforehand. They should know where all of these things are happening anyways if they're issuing permits, which everybody seems to be, that are being scrutinized, has a permit.
That piece of paper isn't always going to help you if they find things they don't like. So, you know, in reality, you know, we've thrown events in venues that are now getting shut down.
There's ways to make anything illegal. Somebody could walk in and find something wrong with the zoning, the coding, anything, and shut it down.
My biggest issue is that they are not looking at it on a business level.
First and foremost, one of the things we always find right away is that a lot of the promoters don't realize that when they're doing business in the city, you have to have a business license.
And it comes with an understanding that this is an industry. What we're doing here is not a counterculture. It's not just some passing trend. It's something that people love and legitimately will seek no matter what.
They have separate rules at the convention center for specific EDM events, which is discrimination. Plain and simple. Now, when it comes to a permitting process, they cannot deny you a permit. You have every right to obtain permits. You just have to jump through the hoops to do it.
You can find permit information in Roswell online, Little Roswell. But somehow Albuquerque, finding permits that have been issued online without knowing their antiquated 2.1 search engine ridiculousness is a joke.
More than creating a safe environment, it's planning.
The next thing is that you're in a building that meets code. And that's when we're starting to get into the safety standards. What is the current condition of that structure? If there were a fire to break out, are there basic fire prevention equipment and are the guidelines being met so that if something were to happen, and we're talking about unobstructed exit ways, exit signs. We go into some of these places and there's extension cords that are just running from one end to the other.
I mean, when it comes down to it, if the police want to come in, they're going to come in, and if they want us trying to find things wrong, they will.
There's not a lot of venues for this kind of music because it's still new.
We have all-age establishments in the city, and and downtown.
I mean, even Martin Chavez, when he got elected one of the 3 or 4 times, came out with a curfew that then was overturned, but a lot of that was aimed at people cruising and people doing other things besides raves and stuff, but the rave element was part of that.
By shutting down these events, they're sending people who are possibly intoxicated, not saying that they are or are not, but they're possibly intoxicated out onto the street. It's the same as any other club environment or bar environment where they shut down it too.
I do all kinds of different events. Played in clubs, warehouses, festivals, open air festivals, live room venues.
People don't want to go pay money and get kicked out and not get their money back. Like I said, I'm surprised that it's still working right now, but it seems like it is, and it seems like if you get the word out there, these kids really believe in what they're doing and they want to support it.
I work constantly on a really hard job, and this is how I have fun.
They need to know what my concerns are, and we need to know directly from them what their concerns are.
Cool. If they want to enforce rules, that's cool, but let those rules be normal, not too many people in a room. That's cool, man. There's a line. You got to get in the line. You should have been there earlier, you know what I mean?
That we need an organization that comes in like Party Smart, passing out pamphlets that, makes these kids aware of what these different drugs can do to them.
We're going to have the party scene still going. We should make the kids dress appropriately.
To have EMTs and have all of your fire and all of the safety requirements out of line, that's something that everybody should do.
And the media needs to be left out of it.
Which has been documented. The police actually call, the press to get in on it so that the press, puts this real diabolical spin on it.
I don't think that the media is necessarily making things up, but they are picking and choosing what they do say.
Were both locked and chained. They found fire extinguishers and alarms that had not been properly inspected.
It's hot news. We are a strange subculture.
Contact us. We'll tell you. It's that simple. I have numerous people in the Safe City Strike Force and criminal nuisance abatement and in the fire marshal's office who can help.
You can't meet with anybody. You can't talk with anybody. You're just supposed to do your forms, go in, You can't have answered questions down there. Everybody acts like a jerk.
Make a phone call to us. But if you don't, there is a good chance you will find the strike force and our fire marshal's office there. And if you're in a building that's not safe, I don't care if you're playing Lawrence Welk's greatest oldies, you are getting shut down.
How do you change somebody's mindset? It's really difficult, and ideally, you lead by example.
I want dance music to go forward.
I love Albuquerque. I love my home. New Mexico is so my home. I really could never fathom leaving. I feel like I have a calling here.